Welcome to the podcast. Babe, thanks for being here.
Yes, you're welcome.
George, huge thanks from both of us for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. We'll start off with how you got into fitness as a whole. So not even ATG. Let's go all the way back on this journey.
I would say fitness is probably been with me before I can actually remember. I grew up in South Africa. There's a lot of sport. I have a picture somewhere when I was about 3 years old with a hockey stick. So
Nice.
I think sport and fitness has just been part of my life, without me having any, not say, because I'm very thankful that it has been, but without me having to do anything. And it's just carried on from there.
So age 3, you just kept the routine going. So how old are you now? And
yeah, 42. So it's almost 40 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, judging by the clips I've seen of you on Instagram, you're probably going to have to show a birth certificate. I don't think people are going to believe that you're 42.
It's true. Genetics are kind as well, I guess. So you do have that. But I think from a very young age, my dad played hockey himself for a long while, and quite, not national level competitively, but he played competitively until he was in his 40s. So that's why hockey was the sport, and that's why probably I had a lot of sports around me growing up.
Makes sense.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. I can see how that would be just from us as parents around our kids, that they are just naturally taking to things. They want to participate. They want to kind of do what mom and dad do. I skated for many years, and both of my kids are like ice skating. They'll like slide in the living room and stuff, and they've both been. So I could see that. Very, very cool.
Yeah. Parents lead the way.
I think it's. I mean, I think, Ben, you've spoken about this, doing lots of different activities and sports as a kid.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important. I was fortunate enough to have the ability and the opportunities to do various sports.
Yeah. So when did that start to turn into fitness, working out?
Seriously working out, going to a gym, probably around university. So that would be 20-ish years old, in gyms specifically. Probably more at that point for working out, rather than, how a lot of us get. I think at that point I wasn't doing too much sport at the time, actually, and I think it was more about, getting in and doing an activity and just getting strong and feeling good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was always as soon as I went in, I was hooked. It's always been a fascination.
That's
the human
really cool.
body and how it works.
So when did you become a trainer?
10 years, 11 years ago? 11 years ago now. And that I kind of fell into as well. So that was, it was meant to be a side hustle. I'd been working in film for about a decade. And then I decided to do this as a side hustle, but very quickly learned that it kind of has to be the main thing. It's a lot more complex, I think, than people realize or give it credit for, to be coaching people. So I realized that had to be the main thing. So I just dropped the other stuff and went full-time as a coach. Yeah, about 11 years ago. So it's been a while.
Nice.
It has been a while.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's admirable, though, that you're all in on it. It definitely seems that would make you, have a lot more knowledge, and because you've studied it, and because you are not trying to do it part-time, let's say, and just it's very cool that you went all in on that.
As I say, I think you have to. I think to some degree, if you want to be good, I think if you want to, I mean, not saying I'm good, but if you want to strive to be good at what you do, you have to spend that time, and it's not just time on the side, like learning and reading. And I read.
Right.
I dove into loads of stuff when I started out, but it's the time with people, seeing how people respond, working with people. One thing doesn't work for everyone, and it's, knowing the nuances and how to adapt, how to change things. I think that's also a lot of time, and it's a lot of dedication to spend.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. So how'd you wind up here? You're one of the few level 3 ATG coaches in the world. So how did that all happen?
Yeah, super excited by that. So I found ATG through finding you, essentially. I think a lot of people probably go that way, find your social media first. And I can actually remember I was thinking about it the other day. I can remember the first time someone mentioned knees over toes guy to me, and I can tell you exactly where I was. I don't know the exact time frame of it, but I wasn't on social media, and I was talking to another coach about something. I'm not exactly sure what, and she said to me, "Oh, do you know knees over toes guy?" I didn't really have much. I wasn't sure if I'd seen something perhaps in passing, but she said, "Yeah, you have to. You just have to go and check this guy out. You will absolutely love it." So, I'm a bit hesitant sometimes when people give me recommendations, but I was pretty much hooked. I think I found it on YouTube first, some YouTube interviews and videos, and just the philosophy was great. I actually initially I almost wrote to you to say, is there a qualification to become a coach? At the time when I searched, I don't think ATG for coaches existed.
Maybe, yeah.
So or I couldn't find anything specific on it.
Yeah, it wasn't always as clear as it is now. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah.
No. I then I just followed your stuff until I realized there was a coaching program, and then I obviously signed up as soon as I did. And I think it saved me in the industry, actually. I was contemplating leaving. Going to editing full time. So it did bring me back in, and I'm very grateful for that. So thank you guys for setting that up and all that you do, because I don't think I would be in as good a place if I hadn't have found it.
Well, that's a good thing. So
I think so.
Yeah.
So now let's go over, a lot of people listen to these podcasts of all different walks of life, but the biggest purpose for sure is helping other coaches out there, many of whom in ATG were not even expecting to be trainers, but just kind of stumbled into something they liked, helping people. Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't planning my whole life to be a trainer, and kind of stumbled into it and found I liked helping people. So let's talk now about like how you go about getting results for clients. Like how do you where do you train them? Like all the detail, where do you train them? How do you find them? Like, let's go over what you do exactly.
So I work both in person and online. I was originally only in person, and I work out of a gym in Southwark, which is just south of the Thames in London, near Waterloo Station. As a bit of a bigger landmark. So I work out of a gym there, and most clients that I have are either members there, or they're finding me through the ATG Coaches map, through Instagram. Similarly to my online is coming through Instagram, which is a little annoying because I'm not a big fan of social media, but it's a necessary thing to do, and it does provide so much information if you could get the right information. So that's where people come from. I'd say that the people that come through ATG specifically have more nuanced issues that they're addressing, and a lot of my other clients are general population. I have some clients though that I've been training for 9 years, That's 8 awesome. Years, 7 years. So I've got some really long-standing clients as well.
Nice.
And I think it wasn't too much. I did start when I started ATG, I did start bringing all of that stuff into my coaching, almost solely from a principles point of view, into the coaching. But I think because I had worked on Charles Poliquin's stuff, Poliquin principles initially, I had a little bit of that structural balance side of things into my coaching way I did things. So for the changeover for my clients that were already there, it wasn't too much. It was just adapting and bringing in some additional things, having a good structure,
Nice.
which is what I think ATG is provides this amazing structure. And as I say, the principles, if you can understand the principles, you can apply it anywhere to anything for any situation, which is the magic there. So again, like clients come in from various ways. I think if you're looking to get clients, having some presence on social media is probably an important thing. Everything is found that way nowadays.
Yeah.
And especially if you want to be an online coach, then that's going to be the primary source, I think, of your clientele. The majority of my online clients have come through Instagram.
Yeah. But I think it's even underrated for getting in-person clients. Mm-hmm. Like I think there's a lot of potential there that people don't realize. Like even for you, you're outside of London. Thousands of people are seeing videos. Odds are someone is either around London or knows someone around London.
Yeah.
It might not, be tougher for someone in a smaller area, but still people are pretty connected. Mm-hmm. And I think most people only think of the social media for getting online clients. Yes. Of course is legit. But I think there's potential, especially as a group within ATG. I think it's like we're probably 1% tapped into what could really be driving in terms of awareness of, there's a coach here, there's a coach there, like where ATG coaches are.
Yes.
And on that note, so you train out of a gym in London. Do you have long-term goals? Like do you have goals? What do they look like?
So I'm a little torn sometimes on the goals because I love coaching in person. I absolutely love it. And I, at one point, wanted to have my own facility to coaching. Mm-hmm. It's something that I miss a lot if I'm not doing it. So I'm kind of torn still with how much to keep in person. And I think you can get a very different coaching relationship in person. But then online is you have a lot more access to people. So you can reach a far wider audience. And I think you can make it more cost effective. So it's also about bringing information and helping people as cost effectively as possible. As coaches, we all still need to be making money. We need to be able to survive, but you do want, there's a lot of people that obviously aren't going to want to come and see a coach 4 days a week and, be able to pay the fees and the in-person fees. So online does give a little bit of ability for that. It's also, online I'd like to do perhaps not do just one-to-one, but have a thing more like your system as well, where you have, programming set out, people can follow and you checking form and you're doing that kind of thing. But it again makes it a little bit more accessible and you can get it out to even more people. But within that, sorry, I ramble on a lot, but within that,
I don't think you're rambling at all. I think I think almost every coach, myself included, goes through this equation to some extent. How much online, how much in person. We're going through that ourselves. Like we're making a public gym again.
Yeah. Because
there's something really special about the in person. And even for us looking, I've helped a lot of people out there. These tend to be people who are really looking for answers and have the time and energy to learn it online and do it on their own. Whereas we have even immediate friends or family that we know that we look back and we go, oh my gosh, those people were in great shape winning when we had a public gym. And when we went only online, we look back the last 5 years and many of those people their bodies are now deteriorating, even though they were winning in person. And all the data's there, but with whatever they have going on in life, you know, like they need a gym and a coach to help them out. So it's interesting for us to see, wow, even if we do the best we can possibly do online, we know people that we love and care about they actually need a gym.
I mean, that's my thing with it, I think, is everyone needs different things, right?
Yeah. Now, I think where the sweet spot will be is where you have a gym. So George is like the manager, owner of a gym, right? And you know this stuff so well now, you can train other coaches. So you can still have an in-person presence, but where your time is more about your strategy in managing a gym while having online, which also, like, for example, you're outside of London. A gym doing well there, so much word of mouth. Not everyone's going to be able to come to your gym 4 days a week. Some might come for a consult. Some might tell friends and family that then they want to do your programs online. I just think that's where the future is going to be. On our end, it's like very careful that it's like, okay, if George is going to do that gym, I'd have to look at the exact locations. But for example, okay, George makes ATG London, and that's that. And no one makes another gym in London, even though it's this giant place, right? Like CrossFit, there's probably 20 CrossFit gyms around London?
Probably more.
Yeah.
More. What if there's only one ATG? So anyone in that whole area, they would have to then make the drive in to do a consult, or if they're close enough to go there, great. Or they then do the programs online. So it's really interesting. Like we're navigating what should ATG be as an in-person brand.
Yeah.
That's the best we've come up with so far. Not the goal of thousands of gyms like CrossFit, but the goal of, let's say, for a starting great goal, like 100 gyms around the world. So everyone's a short, flight or a drive away from one, and then not going anywhere near, because that's where then your business model gets a lot tougher if an ATG opens 5 minutes away. But that's not our purpose. As you know, like our purpose is, as much as I wish I could train everyone in person, the broader purpose is actually just the education getting out there. People being aware of ATG. Like ultimately we're an educational group even more than we are an actual training group. So that's our vision with it so far. I don't know if you've thought about, ideal visions of it.
I mean, I like that. I think that's, again, as you said, for me, the education portion is as important as everything else. I think there's a severe, it's not a fault of people really, but I think there's a lack of understanding of fitness, of the body, of how to build an efficient and solidly structured, good foundation built body, and that comes from just years of either misinformation or not enough information or small scale studies. So I think education is super important, and I think if you keep the locations smaller, you also get you'll have a better shot at providing good education, because I think the more you spread out those things, it's not only kind of cannibalizing other people's businesses necessarily, but also you're going to get all the top the top deliverers of information essentially into those places. So you can maximize how good the information is and how good the coaching is, and the coaches that are developed in those spaces. I assume you can use them to develop coaches. Yeah. Then
like if you have the gym in London, I now can sleep well at night knowing, okay, George has the gym in London. The goal not being to piss off the 20 plus CrossFit gyms, like just have one gym, which would need to be, it should be profitable. It should be a great example. But a bigger win would be if some of those CrossFit gyms started adding some sled work to their classes, or even consulting with you, learning an ATG class formula. Now the same CrossFit gyms, some of whom are struggling, I just know from many discussions with CrossFit gym owners, now in addition to their CrossFit classes, they add a few ATG classes, and now they're able to help even more people in their community. They're able to increase their profits. That's the goal for us. Not not like competing with CrossFit or competing with the 24-hour gyms, but actually, even if it's a slight amount, but actually helping all those gyms. Yes, the one gym that's right near you, that there may be some competition. But life is often kind of like that. And I would say that if we're only going to compete with like less than 1% of gyms on this planet and help the other 99%, that's that fits our goals.
Yeah, I mean, help, right? Help is as much as you can. You get what you give, right? I think as well. So the more you can give and, deliver to people, you're going to get back ultimately from that, especially if you've got good intentions on that. So definitely. So I find it really strange that London has very few coaches, actually. I don't know many coaches in London. Even the UK, it hasn't. I'm not sure why the UK hasn't had as much of a kind of explosion of ATG from my perception of it.
I mean, there's definitely in America people like to, at least like to think they're like on the forefront of things. If you look at culturally, many things that start in America, then other people are copying, and so it's been like a new thing with 80% plus of coaches are like in America. And then I think because of Keegan Smith in Australia, and Australia often is really trying to be like right there with America catching up to stuff. I mean, the UK, there's a lot of, I'm sure the trainers have a lot of pride. I think there's like, you see someone else is doing something different. Now for you to be like, I was trained this way, and now to add or think differently. But then look at yourself. Maybe you'll be that ripple effect in the UK. Maybe there just hasn't been that person in the UK spreading it. Whereas like in Australia, Keegan Smith was there, wound up training the most famous rugby player who made some remarkable results with ATG. Boom, tons. We've had tons of Australian, like even my social media followers.
Yeah.
The top 5 cities as I was growing was like, LA, New York City. But then you had like Sydney, Melbourne.
And like, same for my following. They're almost identical.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it's not worth like trying to, the intention is not to like, judge. And then you have Joe Rogan is probably a much bigger force in America than in England. I mean, no doubt that changed the trajectory. That he's had a bigger impact on things spreading than even my own content in terms of how much Joe Rogan exploded this stuff. So maybe even that, maybe that's why.
He's got a huge reach. But probably less so over here.
And that's why there needs to be a badass ATG London that's there as like an educational beacon. That if a top soccer player or team or whatever, that you're there, you never know when the different opportunities come. But it's like that there's an actual presence there.
But that could be even you if you chose and wanted to do that, just because of.
That's what I'm subtly,
Yeah, that's what he's trying to say. But here you are, you're, becoming a level 3, and then it's just the more you say you're ATG, I feel like London is the 5th top city of my following, and I feel like ours are exactly identical.
There's potential.
So there's definitely probably people there, but they may not know you, not know where to find you, the maps, whatever. So as Ben had said, in-person coaching, there is such a presence for that if you use the social media as you do. And
in particular with the ATG network, with me going, if there was an ATG London, because for us that's a tremendous sign of respect for someone to say, okay, I'm going to call my gym ATG wherever, right? So for me, it's like the moment people start doing this with it, which this is the first year that we're allowing it because we didn't know what is this vision.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, it was more people proposing it almost CrossFit style, where you just boom, pay for the name,
right?
Okay,
not necessarily, there might have been 500 ATGs by now had we just let people just grab the and then realizing now, oh shoot, that's not the purpose at all. We're trying to stay this like educational unit, not compete and piss off a bunch of people. So I think 10x at least the awareness of, let's say if there's an ATG London, because the ATG pages regularly going, boom, ATG London, like that makes us look good. It makes the gym look good.
Yeah.
And of course, this is something that's been like as a level 3, There's like very few people that are like really like earning that we can trust them, that they understand the purpose of this, that it's not just like a quick grab for the potential marketing. It's like a real win-win for the both.
Yeah, I mean, I like that.
And this is something we've been.
Sorry,
I was going to say, this is something we've been working on for years now.
Yeah.
Like trying to figure out the structure, how it would work for us, how it would work for the gym owner.
Because it has to work out monetary. No, I'm showing.
Having his shoe come up, I just started like
I'm showing
mumbling.
as a real
Even
example.
though I know what the shoe is, I didn't know what was happening.
No, as a real example, because things. So you start with the purpose, and the purpose stays the king thing. And for us, like you said, that's the education for us, like helping people have this knowledge. But then it has to work out with the finances so that the people survive.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna make a gym, you have to survive so you can be giving it your energy and have the space nice and pay your people well. That's probably our biggest challenge, which we're doing well with. But it's like you run a business and then you see economically how tough it is in the world. Look how much harder it is to buy a home and these kind of things. Well, what do you think we want to do? We want our people to be able to do those kind of things. So we're getting closer to our goals. But that's why I'm holding an ATG shoe, is because the simple reality is that if there's an ATG London, we'll sell more ATG shoes. It's just a simple reality. That doesn't mean this is like something we started as like a genius, business plan a long time ago. It's always purpose first, but I would encourage people to get rid of the idea that having the desire to help people means you know nothing about business and you basically fail and you don't really help anyone. Or thinking that you have this purpose to help people and really though you have to throw out your integrity if you really want to make money and survive. No, you don't actually, you can keep the purpose and you can just bring up the skills underneath. So that's why for us it's been all this strategizing. How do we make it a win for ATG? How do we make sure that you're winning, that any coaches you have there, that they're winning, that people can, actually do well in this world, that we're then not pissing off everyone else in fitness. So, so now that we finally figured out that's that, we're allowing people to do it. There's already some either switching their existing gyms or making gyms. My guess is 5 to 10 will pop up this year.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nothing's been.
Yeah, and there's one in Macedonia. For our 99% of our followers are in Macedonia. So no, there's actually a gorgeous, stunning ATG Macedonia producing the exact same unreal knee results that you see us posting, success stories of people's written messages. They're seeing those in person at this ATG Macedonia. Yeah. That's the only one right now. We got ATG Macedonia, and we're actually building one
for us
here.
And did work for us, and wanted to make one, just early on, and he's grown and he's expanded 3 times now and just made himself a big mega place there.
Yeah, and we won't allow, I don't know how big Macedonia is, but that's that for Macedonia.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how far away you are from him. If you're in that's the one.
Yeah.
And because that suits our purposes. And he actually is also, he's been on local news stations, and it's a place where coaches can visit. It's like a real like beacon for that area. And that gives him now because the long term matters. Where's he going to be? Where's that gym going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And so CrossFit actually had so much good going on because of the community aspect, but with gyms popping up near each other, where's the same people are showing me that the average CrossFit gym today is doing worse off than it was 5 years ago. So we can't have that happen.
No,
we're trying to
to
learn from the mistakes that's already presented themselves so that we can really help everybody. That's the goal. We don't want people to open an ATG to fail. Like, that's not helpful. We don't want that for their name, for our name, for anything. So, yeah.
No, it's a serious consideration. It's not something I haven't thought about. So, opening a gym, and I do think I think it would open up huge potential, as you say, because London just has a lot of people who don't know where they can go to either, do, look, you can always improvise, right? So you don't need a specific ATG gym is also something I try and tell people. I'm like, you can work out at home. You can still do this stuff. There's ways to do everything. Creativity is key to training, but I think having a place to go would be really, really useful. Attract different clients, new clients, and new coaches, spread the message. So it may be time.
It's an educational beacon. I mean, the idea is that from that one point, for every one person that trains there, 10 plus people will be learning about ATG with more reality than if there was no actual, hub that people could go to. And it adds for the life dynamic. If you can go get your morning cup of coffee, go look in, see a class running well, that was the sweet spot for me. Like I hit the sweet spot when like the online was growing, but we still had our gym. And I didn't realize that I had hit the sweet spot. And I can't sit around regretting stuff. But yeah, that was actually the sweet spot for me when we had a balance of income in person and online. And there's something very special about like owning a gym and seeing people in your community winning versus now them looking at me with shame, asking us, when are you going to open a gym, you bastard? Seriously though, like it was that was a mistake I made for me, and we never even discussed it until COVID hit. And we're not conspiracy theorists, but we've been pretty accurate on a lot of predictions. And so when that hit, we just kind of knew and the online was growing and she was pregnant.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, you're missing this big fact here.
Right,
it wasn't really a mistake fully. Yeah. Like I was about to have a baby, and so
no. But if I knew what I knew now,
yeah.
If I knew everything I do now, I would have simply kept managing the gym.
Yes.
Spent more time with her.
Yes.
And the kids while running the online, and I would have been, I would have had a much more ideal lifestyle than just being alone filming videos online.
I can say that he was the best father because he wasn't showing up training other people. During that time period in particular was COVID. So he would work outside and he spent all the time with me and our son. It was
which is awesome.
So
it's paid off in different ways because I'm really close with our kids. And with ATG, we see a problem, and even if we don't want to handle it, we try to handle it. And there's a problem with youth fitness. And that's why here, you can almost see in the background, but many people have probably seen, we have like a play zone for our kids at our gym. And now, this gym is in a complex where there's another gym. So what you see here is not a public gym, it's like a private studio. We're not allowed to have classes and stuff when we signed the lease.
There's no personal training.
We're just going to use it for our studio, make this awesome play zone so our kids could be here playing when we're working out. And now we actually got some land. We're building a larger warehouse style gym where we're going to really try to master this concept of a dual gym, where we were just walking by a gym the other day and there was kids on iPads while the parents were getting personal training. And then we talked to other friends and their kids are totally winning in gymnastic classes, but they have to go there and wait for the gymnastic class. What if we could have a dual gym where the parent and the kid can both go exercise? And
same time.
Yeah, and we'll have like we have here. Like I think from 0 to 6, you don't even need a gym. You just need a play zone with no electronic toys. Kids end up naturally doing ATG, mobility, all this stuff, and just let them. So we'll probably have like an age 0 to 6 play zone, and then like a gradual age 6 to 14 kind of like physical development system.
And
I think that's great.
Remember that a baby is like, a very tiny little baby. So it might be like, 0 to 6 months in this special corner here, which is just tummy time, rather than
grind it out.
6-year-old jumping on the baby,
We're going to grind it out. We want to have a coffee shop in there.
Yeah.
We're just creating our dream of let the
for
kid
me,
play,
that
have
was,
a coffee, get a workout.
Yeah, that was my idea, though.
Yeah, this was Alyssa's idea to actually make it like a dual.
I was like, it doesn't make any sense. Like how ironic that a kid can't work out at the same time that the mom and dad work out, and the mom and dad can't work out when the kid's working out. Like that sounds so illogical, but that's how it is everywhere. Everywhere. There's no dual place. Can you think of one?
Nope. I was just at gymnastics and there was some kids being taught and the parents were sitting there watching. So it rings very true. Yeah.
Right. So I was just like, that does not make any sense. So it's very cool that we are fortunate enough to be able to create our own world here and make our own gym and basically, hopefully, change the entire system. If it works for us, other people will be like, well, it worked for them. I want to do it in my area. I want to try that. And then how many more families do you think will be fit, just like you alluded to in the beginning with your dad and you with the hockey, because you're around it. So, you can't bring a baby to a gym typically. You're not allowed to. So these children are not even seeing their parents working out unless they have a home gym, which is obviously great, but that system needs to change worldwide, honestly.
Well, yeah, and even if that was the only gym that did this, millions of people would get educated on stuff that their kids can do as they grow up, that
Exactly.
the parents, the kids can do together exercise-wise. And really the whole point of that is just to illustrate the point that having a physical location can enhance all the goals that someone's going after. It'll just be much more real to people, and we'll create a much better system. Like, I created the ATG system before I went on social media. A lot of people don't realize that. I was grinding it out in person for many years. Thought social media was for wussies.
Yeah, he was not a fan
Hated
of social media,
media.
just like you.
I didn't know anyone who didn't have any social media. I didn't even have any social media.
Yeah, he didn't have
I hated
social
social
media.
media.
While we were dating, 5 years into us dating, people can find him on social media. He wasn't on social
But
media.
having to face the pressure of like people's lives on the line, of their goals in life, and having to fix their knees and stuff, that's what made the ATG system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same with like trying to come up with a good youth system.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot
Yeah,
better.
I think it's lacking as well, as you say. It's definitely, and the more modern world goes on, or the more we kind of develop in the world, it becomes less and less important for kids to be active, unless they are in a sport. If they picked for talents, and even then they're not necessarily trained correctly.
And even then, there's an epidemic of knee surgeries in young athletes, and no full range of motion strengthening. So it's like there's simply a lot there that could very simply be better than it is. But it's going to rely on what? Educating millions of people. So we're going to have like a physical location to try to do this.
Yeah, and you'll know. I mean, I've tried to educate people. People are resistant to new things or something that someone told them 20 years ago. It can be a little bit tricky at times.
Yeah, it's not a one-time, hey, I do this one piece, I say this one thing one time and everything. No, we're talking, this is like a lifelong mission of continual education, and it's varying degrees of winning. There's no ultimate win. It's just continually helping people, continue educating.
Thankfully, I feel that, though, in this time period, ATG and knees over toes are actually like an accepted thing, more so than in the past. I mean, you have to understand, I was backward walking on a treadmill with Ben, turned off in New York City. We looked completely ridiculous before this was actually a thing. He used to do exercises with me on his back in the airport, standing against a wall doing tib raises. He looked ridiculous. I looked ridiculous right alongside him because no one in the world was doing this. And so at least now someone can go on YouTube and see other people looking just as ridiculous as we did in the beginning. But it works. That's the truth. It works.
We got our foot in the door at least.
Yeah. So now we have our foot in the door. But I feel that because of that, and because of even the respect that's come along with ATG and knees over toes now, us being able to put new ideas on the table, like having a gym with children and families combined, I think we have a huge foot in the door now that I think people will automatically be like, oh, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah, or the idea of an ATG London, very different than when there was no ATG and you're just trying to, like because of the community now.
Exactly.
I think we can
100%, yeah.
All the work we've put in is not for nothing. We have a bit of leverage now. I also feel like you can probably relate to this, the idea of being only online. Like, I just think it adds a bit more validity if we have some in-person presence.
I think there's a difference in, in person has another difference to it, I guess, is that you learn differently from the nuances of people's issues. It's a little bit harder to do that online, even if you're watching video. You can spot things and you can work stuff out, but like how you explain to different people how to do things or what's meant to be activating, or it's on online is hard. In person, you learn more. You get quicker, quicker at responding to things like that. So there's that advantage as well.
Definitely, yeah. The better you get in person makes it easier to get results online.
I would almost say you should have to be an in-person coach to be able to be online.
That's why our level 3 requires in-person success stories, is because of the problem we were seeing of people getting certified, not having trained many people, and then only doing online and making social media posts, but without the experience of training people in real life. And you can almost like see something missing there, not to mention just the honesty and integrity of it. So yeah, this is the future. It's not to have any less success educating online. In fact, I think we'll go much farther in the long run by building it with like a nice, strong in-person presence.
Yeah, agreed.
It's also, let's say someone else in England is getting certified, right? Well, now there's like a physical place they can go. They could go work for you or intern or even just visit. You know, just having some of these physical beacons, people's skill sets will come up a lot faster.
Definitely, yeah.
Well,
I think there's a lack. Sorry, I'm going to say that there's a
almost-
lack in education for coaches. I do in terms of. I just again, I'm gonna ring the praises quickly for anyone who's listening who wants to do ATG. I probably find that I can learn more on a call, like in a coaching development call with Ben Clarefield. There's more information on those calls in like 1 or 2 calls than half of what I learnt on my PT qualification in terms of actionable, useful information. So, you know, if you use the amount of coaches and the amount of information that ATG, provides, ultimately, you know, it's a really, really good system just to accelerate your coaching ability and your coaching knowledge. It's just nothing. It was nothing like anything I've done lots of qualifications. It's nothing like I've ever experienced. So, you know, for anyone who's looking to do it, I'm going to just say it's worth it for the knowledge, whether you're going to be a coach or not. It's definitely worth doing for the education there.
That's amazing. We super appreciate that.
Someone wants to talk. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, baby.
And I'll clip that out for Ben Clarefield because that's really nice, and it's amazing that we have this group trying to help each other. I mean, it's really there's no doubt that the average coach doing this is making more money, having better results with clients. And again, really, we're still at the tip of the iceberg. You know, it's not a perfect system. We're far from how good it could be, and I do think we're going to need in-person presence. But regardless of that, even what you've accomplished so far, being a level 3, out there working with people, teaching it on social media, you know, that's having a ripple effect. That's making the world a better place. That's how I think of my job. Like in some way, no matter how small, like I'm actually making a difference, making the world a better place. And you are as well, accomplishing what you have and being a level 3. So
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Any final words before we sign off?
No, just thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time, and hopefully I'll make it out there to Florida and train in person, see you in person. That'd be
For sure.
that'd be good fun. And if you get to London ever, obviously give me a shout, and be good to meet up.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this. See ya.
Awesome. Thanks.